Hello. Today is November 8th, 2022, and my name is Charles Webster Baer. And I am in Redmond, Oregon, USA, and my website is globalinternetgovernment.com. And I am running for President of the United States of America in 2024 and 2028 as a libertarian, which means I'm for less government and more freedom. So please vote for me. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching this video. And please feel free to contact me or make your own video where you talk about your opinions on the subjects that I'm going to discuss. So I'm going to spend a little small amount of time talking about myself. I'm 53 years old. I was born and raised in Santa Cruz, California. I went to high school in Newport, Rhode Island. I graduated from the University of Hawaii at Hilo on the Big Island in 1994. I moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico in 1995. I moved to Portland, Oregon in 1999. I created global internet government in the year 2000. I moved to Bend, Oregon in the year 2007. And in the year 2014, I moved to China for 3 years. And in the year 2019, I moved to Redmond, Oregon. And in 1985, I became a depopulationist. And in 1991 or 92, I became a Buddhist. And I don't know when I became a libertarian, maybe 97, 98. But I've got no kids, no wife, no ex-wife. And so I'm running for President of the United States of America. And so that's a little bit about me and who I am. And what I want to do now is I want to talk about a few things. I want to talk about 4 things. Okay. The first thing I want to talk about is depopulationism, because I'm a depopulationist. The second thing I want to talk about is Buddhism, because I'm a Buddhist. The third thing I want to talk about is GIG, which is Global Internet Government, which is a world government that I created in 2000. And the fourth thing I want to talk about is FogBank, which is my cyber currency that I created in 2019. So I want to talk about those 4 things, and hopefully when I'm finished, that gives you a better idea of me and what I'm trying to accomplish on a political level. and and hopefully over the next 2 years, I can earn your vote in the 2024 presidential election of America. And, I want to be on the ballot. If I'm not, you can always write me in. But anyway, so let's get started, okay? First thing I'm going to talk about is depopulationism, because I'm a depopulationist. I've been a depopulationist since 1985. The second thing I want to talk about is Buddhism, because I've been a Buddhist since 1992. The third thing I want to talk about is global internet government, because that's been what I've been working on for the entire millennium. And then the fourth thing I want to talk about is FogBank, because I created a cyber currency a few years ago, and I'm very, very excited and interested in that concept. Okay, so let's get started. Let's go to topic number 1, depopulationism. Now, depopulationism, in my opinion, is what the Chinese created in 1980, the one woman, one child policy. To give it a more technical definition, depopulationism, in my opinion, means that it's illegal for a human being in the solar system to reproduce a second time during the first few centuries of this millennium, the third millennium AD. So that's my opinion of what the technical definition of depopulationism is. And I've been a depopulationist since 1985. And I've been a good depopulationist for various reasons. One reason is I haven't had any kids, and another reason is I've been able to spread the message. And now that I'm an old man, I'm able to spread the message in a much calmer, much more relaxed, much more detailed way, a more positive way. And and I'll continue to work on how I talk about this issue. So in the future, I'll talk about it in an even more calmer and a more polite way and a more relaxed way, and even have more details and specifics to provide to you, the listener, the voter, the citizen, the global citizen. So right now and forever, or for the last 3-4 million years, the human population is increasing. We're at 8 billion and we're going up. So, as a depopulationist, I feel that is the wrong direction. I think that we need to be going down. I think the number of people on Earth needs to be decreasing. Just in order to not kill Earth, in order to save the environment, we need to go in the correct direction, which is down. And right now we're going in the wrong direction, which is up. So right now we're on a suicide course as a species. We're making the planet uninhabitable for ourselves. We've used up all the resources, and now there's no resources left. So we've really screwed this up very badly, maybe to the point where it can't be fixed. So we're at 8 billion people, and we're increasing. We're going to 9 billion. As a depopulationist, I think we should be decreasing, going to 7 billion and 6 billion. And I think that the number of people on Earth should continue to go down until we arrive at a sustainable level. And nobody knows what that number is. It's a number for future generations to determine. I'm going to guess it's around 2 or 3 billion. Anyway, what we need to do is we need to implement the one woman, one child policy immediately and globally, and hopefully that will work at this point. The more the human population on Earth increases, the lower our standard of living becomes. There's a finite amount of resources on the planet, and we've exceeded the level where everybody can have enough clean water and clean air and land and stuff like that. So we're in a very bad situation at this point. And so that's where we're at. And so the only way out of it that I can think of is depopulationism. So basically, depopulationists are the solution and non-depopulationists are the problem. And the correct thing to do is to not reproduce at all. However, if you want to reproduce, you can once, but that's it. And so the thing is that's what depopulationism is. That's who we are as depopulationists, and we need to implement this legally, politically, culturally, socially, globally, immediately. So that's the goal. And on a political level, living in America, which is a free democracy, Americans need to implement this within the American political establishment through the vote. We need to only elect leaders who are publicly depopulationists, and then we need those leaders to pass laws making depopulationism the law. And people say, oh, you can't do that. And I say, yeah, we can. We can, and we will, or we're toast. And there's no more time on the clock, so we have to do it now. And people say, oh, you don't have the right to do that. And I say, yeah, I do. And if we're going to do it, in a free democracy like America, then we'll do it by electing depopulationists as our leaders. In China, it's a little easier. You just say, here's the deal, and that's it. America, it's a little more difficult, but not impossible, and we need to get started on it. So that's depopulationism. I've been saying this now for over 35 years, and hopefully I'll live long enough to say it for another 35 years. But I'm right. It's logic. It's common sense. I'm correct. And it's time for you to be correct. It's time for you to be right. And it's time for everybody to be correct. It's time for everybody to be right. And it's not enough to just say, oh, yeah, I'm a depopulationist. That's no longer enough. You need to say it and be it and vote it and run for political office as a depopulationist. It's no longer enough to just sit on your couch and have a beer and say everybody's an idiot. That's not enough anymore. You need to stand up, get loud about it, vote it, and you need to run for political office as a depopulationist. It's time for action. It's not time to sit around and talk about this. It's not time to sit around and discuss this. It's not time to analyze this. It's time for action. It's time to implement this and create this and move forward with this. So that's where we're at. And that's depopulationism. And it's not just a political issue. It's a moral issue. Humans don't have the right to kill the planet. Humans don't have the right to threaten the planet. But that's what we're doing. And it's wrong. And we need to stop right now. Globally. Internationally. Everybody. It's not an economic issue. It's not a religious issue. It's not a social issue. It's not a gender issue. It's not a racial issue. It's a human issue. Okay? Don't overthink it. Don't make it complicated. It's very simple. There's too many people on the planet, and we need to stop making more people. It's very, very easy to understand. It's very simple to understand. And if you don't understand it, then you're really, really stupid. And you need to work on that. Because stupid people, in theory, can stop being stupid if they put a little effort into it and can start being smart. So work on that hard, and good luck with that. I'm here to help. I'm here to help. I'm not here to criticize. I'm not here to censor. I'm not here to ban. I'm here to begin a conversation on modern environmentalism that makes sense and is results-oriented and works. And that's what I'm here to do. And that's what I've been doing for my entire life. And that's what I'll continue to do for my entire life, because that's what I enjoy doing. It's fun to be right. It's fun to know what's going on. It brings one much joy to not be an idiot. It does. Try it. Just try it. Try it for a couple days, maybe a week, to see how you like it. I think you will like it. So that is depopulationism. Depopulationism. 6 syllables. I am a depopulationist. Depopulationist. 6 syllables. It's a big word, but it's a good word. It's an important word. And we need to speak it, say it out loud, in public, often, and discuss it in a mature, intellectual, calm, civilized way. Because we are enlightened beings, and we can save the planet, and we will save the planet. And that's depopulationism. That was topic number one. Depopulationism is the goal. It's what we're going to achieve on the planet Earth in this millennium. It's my number one priority. Always has been, always will be. And that's why I think that you should vote for me, Charles Webster Baer, for President of the United States of America, because I'm a depopulationist. And depopulationism should be the number one priority for every politician on the planet in this millennium. Dig it. Dig it. So that's depopulationism. I like to talk about depopulationism. And I've gotten really good at it. I've been talking about depopulationism for 37 years. So after you talk about something for 37 years, you get good at it. You get good at it. You learn how to hit all the main points calmly, slowly, politely. And you can sum it up real simple, real easy, in a short amount of time. Yeah. So that's depopulationism. And whoever you vote for moving forward, you should only vote for people who publicly say they are depopulationist. And you should run for political office as a depopulationist. Because then, and you should be a depopulationist, because then you're part of the solution and you're not part of the problem. And that's important from a karma point of view. So that's depopulationism. So you've now received the memo. Some people haven't gotten the memo, but now you've gotten the memo. And now you can give the memo to the people who have not yet gotten the memo. And to people who've gotten the memo and don't agree with the memo, you can try to persuade them that the memo is correct. The memo is depopulationism. Okay, well, I think I've covered this topic pretty well, depopulationism. I think I've covered it pretty good. If I've left a few things out, and I probably have, we'll make more videos in the future and try to encapsulate everything there is. It really comes down to equality, female rights, female reproductive rights. All females on Earth have the right to free and total access to all forms of birth control, including abortion and education. Any governments that disagree with this are illegitimate governments and will be replaced quickly and peacefully by legitimate governments. Okay, that's topic one. Let's go to topic two. Topic two is Buddhism. Buddhism is not a religion, it's a philosophy. And as a Buddhist, in my opinion, it's the correct philosophy. And Buddha was a guy who was born in Nepal 2,500 years ago, and he traveled down south to India and grooved around and got all philosophical. And he came to the point where he said, okay, what am I? I am my thoughts. What is all this? This is the universe. Does the universe exist? I don't know. I think it does, and then I'm dreaming. I think the universe exists, and then I wake up and realize that that was an illusion. So what do I know? I know my thoughts exist. I know I exist because my thoughts exist. But what is this? Well, this is the universe. Well, does the universe exist? I don't know. Well, if the universe exists, then what? Then everything's cool. Well, if the universe doesn't exist, then what? Well, then I can't be part of the universe because it doesn't exist. So what am I if the universe does not exist? I am the soul. Because I'm not part of the universe. If you're not part of the universe, you're the soul. If you are part of the universe, then that's great. If the universe exists, you're part of the universe and everything's cool. If the universe does not exist, you're not part of the universe. So what are you? You're the soul. So Buddha invented the soul. And this information went to the East, where the Chinese were sophisticated and intelligent enough to understand it, and they created Buddhism. And this information went to the West, to Jerusalem, where they were not sophisticated enough to understand it. They didn't have the proper language to describe it. They misinterpreted it twice. Either they either misinterpreted it intentionally or unintentionally. Either way, they got it wrong, and they got it wrong twice. The first time they got it wrong, it was called Christianity. The second time they got it wrong, it was called Islam. And both of these times they got it wrong, they made the same mistake. Buddha said soul, singular, which is correct. Jesus and Muhammad said souls, plural, which is incorrect. So there's a lot of shenanigans. There's still, to this day, many shenanigans going on. And that's Buddhism. You know, Buddhism is a philosophy. It's the correct philosophy. And religion is, cults and ghost stories and slavery, I guess you could say. So that's the deal. I don't know what else to say, There's not a lot left to say. I just explained it. I explained it in the simplest possible terms I could. And I don't really have much more to say about that. I'm not against religion. I'm not anti-religion. I don't want to ban religion. Religion to me is like stamp collecting. It's fine. If you want to do it, great. I'm not interested in it. I don't talk about it that much. I don't think about it that much. I don't want to hear about it necessarily, But I'm not against stamp collecting. I'm not trying to ban stamp collecting. I don't hate stamp collectors. That's just not what I'm just not that interested in it. And I don't really want to hear about it. Okay. So, there are people who talk about baseball statistics. That's fine. That's great. I'm not against these people. I'm not trying to ban baseball statistics. I'm not anti-baseball statistics. I don't want to tell these people they can't talk about baseball statistics anymore. I'm not interested in it. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. I'm not against religion. I'm not anti-religious. I'm not trying to tell religious people they're wrong or incorrect. I'm just not interested in it. I just don't really want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. It's boring to me. If you're religious, that's fine. But I'm not. And so if you want to go to the church or the mosque or whatever, that's fine. I'm not going to go. I'm not trying to ban churches or mosques. I'm just saying I decide not to get down on that program. So if you get down on that program, fantastic. I don't. And so that's me, and that's Buddhism. Okay? So that's that. We're all free to have our own spiritual thing or no spiritual thing at all. So that's the deal. So, and that's the way it should be. So there it is. So that was the second topic. And I bring that up because religious people are trying to get involved in the American government. Roe versus Wade, censorship, treason. And I got a problem with that. We need to get religion out of the American government and out of every government 100% now and forever. So that's another reason to vote for me for President of the United States of America. I will get all religion completely out of the American government immediately and permanently, 100%. And we'll bring back abortion rights, and we won't tolerate treason, and we won't tolerate any of this religious stuff in, the government or the schools or whatever, the judicial branch or whatever. Because that's the law, and it's always been the law. And of course, I will uphold the law as President of the United States of America. So we've talked about two things. We've talked about depopulationism and we've talked about Buddhism. Now we're going to talk about a third thing. GIG. GIG is Global Internet Government. GIG is my world government I created in the spring of 2000 in Portland, Oregon. GIG. Yeah. And I've been making GIG videos on YouTube since frickin' 2008. And I've been making GIG journalism since 2000. So if you want to see how GIG has evolved over the decades, then you can go to YouTube. But GIG basically started out as a world government. The world government right now is the United Nations and the International Monetary Fund. So I figured I'd make a website for the UN and the IMF and put it together, and I'd call it GIG. GIG's a social network. And GIG will allow all human beings to participate in and contribute to what the United Nations and what the International Monetary Fund are doing in their country. GIG will help simplify and explain what the UN and the IMF are doing in every country and help people understand what the UN and the IMF are doing in their country. And GIG will give them an opportunity to have their voice heard and have their opinions heard on what the UN and the IMF should and should not do in their country. GIG is also like the European Union. It's a nation that is growing and gaining more nations in a free and democratic process. Just like the European Union, nations can vote to be part of the European Union. Nations can vote to be part of GIG. The European Union is basically moving east, which is the only direction it can move. And nations that want to be part of it can follow the rules and agree to the terms. And if they're invited into it, they can have an election to vote whether or not they want to be in it or not. And if they're in it, they can have an election to vote whether they want to be out of it or not. So nations can come and go as they please. And if you're in Eastern Europe, you can be part of the European Union, the EU. And if you're on the planet Earth, you can be part of global internet government, GIG. Okay? GIG is like an EU for everybody on the planet. And just like the European Union follows the UN and the IMF, so too does GIG follow the UN and the IMF. GIG supports the UN and the IMF. GIG will help augment them and help them achieve their goals faster and better and in a more transparent way. And it'll simplify things so everybody can be part of it. It'll simplify things so everybody can know what's going on and monitor it. So that's GIG. That's global internet government. And I think it's inevitable. I think it's going to happen. I thought it would happen a lot sooner than I thought it would happen by now, for sure. But apparently these things move rather slowly, which I guess is okay. So let's say country X wanted to be part of GIG. What would they do? Well, if country X wanted to be part of GIG, it would call GIG up on the phone, and I'm GIG. Literally. It's been a one-man show for 22 years, so nobody's helped me out with GIG. I've done this all myself, 100%. I've gotten zero assistance from. Nobody's helped me with GIG. GIG has been 100% me forever, and so if country X wants to be part of GIG, they'd call me on the phone and say, "Hey, I want to be part of GIG," and I'd say, "Cool, country X. Here's the deal. You need to have 2% inflation or less for 3 years in a row. You need to have debt that is less than a third of your GNP, gross national product. You need to have a frickin' balanced budget amendment in your Constitution so it's illegal to spend more than your budget. And if you do that, everybody in the government is going to jail for breaking the law." Judas Priest. And the number one rule is depopulationism. You need to have depopulationism part of your Constitution. Okay, depopulationism is the law. Low inflation is the law. Balanced budget amendment is the law. The government breaks the law, the government goes to jail. You don't pass a balanced budget amendment, or you don't pass a balanced budget in time for the fiscal year, you've broken the law and you go to jail. That's the law. Okay? It's very similar to the IMF and the UN. And the IMF and the UN have really been slacking off The INF and the UN should have taken care of all this 10, 15 years ago, but they haven't because they suck. So that's why I'm here to help out and make things go a little bit faster. You know, when they created FedEx, people are like, well, who's going to use FedEx? They can use the U.S. mail. It's a lot cheaper. Well, people don't mind paying a little extra to get faster service. And that's why I created Gig. People might pay a little extra for Gig, but they'll get faster service and better service. And people are willing to pay a little extra for faster service and better service, especially when it comes to saving the planet. So that's Gig. People will be able to vote on Gig. Gig will have its own currency, which is basically Fog Bank, I guess, which is the next topic, the last topic. But Gig will eventually become the world government. Right now, the world government is the UN and the IMF, and that's cool. I like the UN, I like the IMF. They're just a little too slow. And they're not 100% transparent. And so they need to be replaced by someone that's fast and totally transparent, and that's Global Internet Government, which is me, basically. I am Global Internet Government. I've been Global Internet Government for 22 years. And eventually I anticipate, hopefully, I might get some assistance from somebody somewhere, financial and or otherwise. But, you know, a world with Gig is better than a world without Gig. So I'm glad Gig does exist. And, you know, maybe at some point we'll get a little bit of traction, which would be good, I think. So that's Global Internet Government. Now, I could talk about Global Internet Government a lot, and I do, and I will. But if you go to YouTube and you search Global Internet Government or Charles Webster Baer, you can see how it has progressed on video format for the last 14 years. Gig's been around since 2000. Gig videos have been around since 2008. So on YouTube, you can search Global Internet Government or Charles Webster Baer, and you can see how Gig has evolved and progressed over the last 14 years on video, because it has gotten better. I have made big, significant improvements in Gig. But the core idea has always remained the same. It's inevitable that we have a world government. We do have a world government. We had a world government back in the 70s, in the 60s. It's the UN and the IMF, and that's good. But they're outdated now. They're dinosaurs now. And they're just basically in the way at this point, and they need to be replaced by something newer, better, and that's Global Internet Government. And Global Internet Government is a free, democratic institution and always will be. But we love communists. We love China. We love Russia. We love everybody. And there's plenty of room in Gig for communists. You know, we're Americans. We believe in freedom and democracy, and that's great. But there's plenty of room in Gig for everybody. Everybody is invited into Gig. All you got to do is agree to depopulationism and balanced budget amendment and low inflation and low debt, and you're in. You're in. And there'll be a currency for Gig, not necessarily Fog Bank, but something very similar. So there's room for everyone in Global Internet Government. It doesn't matter if you're a communist or a capitalist or whatever you are. There's room for you. There's room for your government. As an American, I'm going to advocate for freedom of speech and democracy, but that's not That's not. It's not necessary. It's more of a suggestion. Hopefully, you and your nation will evolve into that point of view. But right now, we've got bigger fish to fry, and it's a triage issue at this point. So that's global internet government, and that's the third topic I wanted to talk about. So we've talked about depop, the number one issue, depopulationism, the number one issue, the most important issue, the only relevant issue. We talked about Buddhism, which is a nice little conversation as well. It's important to do the right thing. Karma. It's important to be moral, which is also depopulationism. These things are all combined. The third topic was GIG, global internet government. Depopulationism is the goal. GIG is how to achieve the goal. Depopulationism is the destination. GIG is the map on how to get there. GIG is what we need to accomplish, or depopulation is what we need to accomplish. GIG is the plan that we need to execute on how to achieve that. So now the fourth topic is FogBank. FogBank is the fourth topic of discussion today. So I created FogBank in 2019. Yeah. I was actually in Santa Cruz in October 2019, sitting on the beach in front of the boardwalk like I've done my entire life, and I watched the FogBank actually roll in Monterey Bay. So that's how I got the name FogBank. But anyway, FogBank is my cryptocurrency, my cyber currency. It's 100% transparent. It's available to everybody. The unit of currency for FogBank is the FogBuck, Fogbuk. That's singular. Plural is FogBucks, Fogbux. That's the unit of currency for FogBank, is the FogBuck. And each FogBuck costs 1 American cent. So anybody anywhere can buy as many FogBucks as they want, a penny each. So what is a FogBuck worth? Nothing. It's not worth anything today. However, as FogBank catches on in the future, and more people buy more and more FogBucks, the value of the FogBuck will do what all currencies do, and it will fluctuate in value. It will go up and down. It may go up and then go down and then go back all the way down to nothing and stay there for a long time. But then hopefully it'll come back up and then fluctuate some more. Every FogBuck will have a FogBuck number, a unique individual FogBuck number. For every FogBuck will have its own unique individual FogBuck number. And everybody everywhere will be able to trace all the FogBucks wherever they are, including the entire history of that FogBuck. And people will use FogBucks to buy things and sell things and whatever. They can use FogBucks as currency. And it'll be 100% transparent. Nobody will be allowed to have more than 1 billion American dollars worth of fog bucks, because I don't think anybody should be able to have more than $1 billion American dollars at all. Because I think if you need more than $1 billion American dollars, I think you're insane, frankly. So Fog Bank is the only cryptocurrency that's 100% transparent. And that means it's clean. The money's clean. It's clean money because everybody knows where every unit of currency is, who has it, how they got it, the entire history of that currency, where it came from. And nobody can have over $1 billion American dollars worth of fog bucks. So it's fair, it's clean, and it's fair. And that's what you want in your money. And people who have dirty money and secret money and illegal money and, fraudulent money will put their money into Fog Bank because it's more legitimate. Fog Bank is the most legitimate money because it's the most transparent money and it's the fairest money. So people will put their bad money into good money, and Fog Bank is good money. So Fog Bank is a cyber currency. It will eventually become the cyber currency. And then it will eventually become the currency. And then it will eventually become the only currency. And I probably won't live to see that, but that's okay. This is how money evolves and improves and gets better. Gig is how government evolves, improves, and gets better. Buddhism is how spirituality evolves and improves and gets better. Depopulationism is how human beings evolve and improve and get better. So I'm all about evolving and improving and getting better. And I created depopulationism so we can do that as a species. Buddha created Buddhism so we could do that as a species. I created Gig so the governments of the world could evolve and improve and get better. I created Fog Bank so money could evolve and improve and get better. Everything is always evolving and improving and getting better. And hopefully you are too. And hopefully your country is too. And hopefully your planet is too. And hopefully your universe is too. So let us all work and strive and succeed at improving and evolving and getting better and moving forward and moving upward. And that's why you should vote for me, Charles Webster Baer, for President of the United States of America in 2024 and 2028 as a libertarian who believes in more freedom and less government. So we've discussed a lot of things today, actually 4. Depopulationism, Buddhism, global internet government, and Fog Bank. And I want to say more about Fog Bank because Fog Bank just keeps getting funkier and funkier and funkier. Fog Bank is my own private business. Okay? Fog Bank and the concept of this cyber currency that I've created, transparency, is my own private business. I own it. I founded it. I'm the CEO. I'm the founder. I'm the owner. I'm the president. Just like Gig, I do everything. But Gig and Fog Bank can be seamlessly integrated into the governments of the world. The American government and even the state of Oregon can have its own cyber currency. They can just change the name. Any of the 50 states of America can create their own cyber currency and model it just like Fog Bank and then just change the name. They can call it, Arkansas ducats or, Michigan doe or whatever. The federal government can do this. Any government can do this. Any person can do this. Anybody, anywhere, can take the fog bank model and just call it a different name and make their own cyber currency. And it's the same with gig. Any government or any person can make their own gig and just call it, the world cyber freakout or whatever. All you have to do is change the name. You can call it, dirty socks, You can call it, Tree 72, whatever. And then you can make your own world government. You can be an individual and do this. As a private company, you can be a government or a state government or a government employee and do it as a public government run situation. So what I've created, I'm also now donating to the human race. What I've created, I'm now giving away for free to everybody. And that might not be in my best interest from a fiscal point of view, but I don't give a shit about any of that. So, so that's FogBank. So anyway, thank you very much. We're coming in here at under an hour, which I suppose is a good thing. And it's been good talking to you. I love you. I hope you have a great life and a great day. And I hope that there's a lot of common ground here for you and I and everybody else. There's a lot of common ground for everybody. You just got to look for it. I think we found a lot of common ground today. And I wish you the best. And thank you for listening. And please feel free to comment. Please feel free to contact me. And please feel free to make your own video where you talk about these subjects and talk about your own opinion on these subjects. Because these are important subjects. These are the most important subjects that there are. And it's important that you understand them. It's important that you discuss them with yourself and with other people. And it's important that you participate in your government and in your society and in your global cyber society. And it's important that you are part of the solution. And it's important that you're included. And it's important that you understand what's going on. And it's important that you participate and vote Bear.